Hi, my name is Pierre. This presentation is called How to Create Something Cool and Launch It into the World. So you might have an idea for a project that you'd like to do, maybe online, a blog you'd like to create, something that something that you'd like to do and create attention for. How do you create that thing? How do you make it cool? And how do you get the word out there? That's the topics of this presentation, and they're all ideas I learned at the World Domination Summit, which was a collection of interesting people out in Portland, Oregon, a conference of sorts, and many of the speakers and presenters there were online entrepreneurs and had a lot of interesting thoughts on this on these kind of topics. So I took a bunch of notes and I put them in this presentation, and I hope you enjoy it. So if you want to create something cool, it helps to first ask, what's cool? Fred here wants to know. Well, here are a few ideas. You've probably got your own idea, but here are some things to think about as you craft your idea and sculpt it a little bit. One thing that's cool is to blow people's minds, like this pigeon. Show people something that they haven't seen before. Give people something fresh to think about. Try to help people, serve them. If you're doing something helpful for someone else, they're going to be much more likely to be interested in what you're doing and think that what you're doing is cool. You can take that actually a step further, be really cool, and teach somebody how to be independent. Teach somebody how to do something that you know how to do. Show them how to do it themselves so they can be self-sufficient. You generally want to do something that's exciting to you. If you're excited about it, that's going to show in what you do, and if you're not excited about what you're doing, that's going to show through in a negative way. Try to be yourself in whatever you do. Sometimes that's not always easy, but make your best effort at it. And this really comes into play. You look at what other people are doing and try to model yourself after what someone else has done. And that's good, but when it comes to creating your own thing, make sure that your own stamp is on what you're doing. Try to find your ideal mode of expression. You might be a better writer, or you might be better speaking, or you might be better on video, or whatever. There's a lot of different options. Your impact is going to be greatest probably on one of those things. So look around, try to find out what mode of expression works best for you, and then develop that skill. Make sure you don't second guess your past. If you like, you're trying to do something cool, and maybe it's a little different from what you've done before, and you start having thoughts, well, maybe if I had done my life differently prior to this, you start sort of questioning what you've done before in your life. Well, don't do that, because that's just not helpful to you making a decision to do something cool right now. You made the best decision you could at the time. Decide to do something fresh and interesting going forward. And don't get bogged down in looking around at what other people have done and thinking, oh, they're successful, they've done this well, it must be so nice to be in that position. You don't really know what they're thinking inside. You're just seeing what they look like on the outside, and you can't really compare that to how you're feeling on the inside. So don't worry too much about what other people look like. Just focus on what you can do and try to make the best of it. So you've come up with something cool you want to do, a project that you think is going to resonate with people. So now you got to actually make it. How do you create this thing? What are some things that you can do? Well, you want to form some positive habits. put yourself in a position where you can actually create whatever you're trying to make on and do it on a regular basis. And sort of the key habit to develop is to take action. Often in the face of uncertainty, you don't really know how your project's going to turn out in the end. Whether you like to plan a lot or a little, you don't really know how it's going to turn out until you take action. Only then will you find out how it's going to go. You want to give yourself an environment to create in. So a physical space, your office, your couch, whatever, wherever that place is, make sure it's conducive to doing work. And try to give yourself times where you're actually going to consistently work on your project. First thing in the morning, right after lunch, in the evening, whatever it is that fits into your life. But carve it out for yourself in advance so that you know when you're going to be actually working. Tigers. So remember that you can't just work at a high level from morning till night. You have to take some breaks in between. You're going to have ups and downs in your level of energy. So remember that you're going to work in a burst and then rejuvenate, relax, and then work in another burst. It's not always going to be one consistent process of grinding something out. You'll run into problems along the way, and do your best not to get bogged down in the problems. Try to think of a way of looking at things that helps you get past it. Whether you try to say, how's this problem going to ultimately be solved, and how's this project going to turn out better because of it. Whatever you need to tell yourself to keep going. And keep in mind that you're starting this project and you don't actually know at the beginning how it's all going to come together. And remember that help and assistance and opportunities may present themselves along the way, and you don't really know that now. So the best way to find out, the best way to get to those places where help materializes is to actually start down the path of this project and keep your eyes open for opportunities that do come up to get the word out about your project or help with creating it, anything to move it along. So let's say you've put something together, a website, your art, your creative project, whatever it is, and you're pretty happy with it. Well, how do you actually launch it? How do you get the word out? Well, the first thing is you actually have to spend time marketing. People aren't going to find out about it randomly. You actually have to go out and tell people. So a good thing to do is build relationships with people, with real people. With your friends, make connections with like-minded people who are doing things that you're doing. Do this over a long period of time. When you have something interesting to show everybody, well, those are the people you can connect with. Don't just sit around in your own corner on your site if you're working on the internet. Try to get out and be on other people's sites, be interviewed. Don't just kind of sit in your own corner and wait for people to come to you. Get out in the world. And when you're trying to reach people who you don't know yet to tell about your project, how do you do marketing, really? How do you get the word out to people you don't know? A good analogy is to think of it like fishing. I'm not into fishing myself, but I think this analogy makes sense, which is if you want to catch a fish, you generally want to pick a lure that's going to maximize your chances of success. And I think there's a lot of nuance if you're into fishing of how you pick a lure, and you can look at the type of fish and the type of water and the time of day, and there's a lot of different things. But you don't just throw a Cheeto on the hook and throw it in the water. You want to pick something that's actually going to help you catch a fish. And in marketing is a little bit the same. You have particular people that you want to tell about your project. You want to craft your message in such a way that it stands out with the people that you're trying to reach. You don't want to just have a bland generic message. Through it all, you want to keep a positive attitude, because there can be times when you are feeling negative, and really that's just going to take away from your ability to complete your project and get the word out. Maybe you're frustrated. Keeping a positive attitude will help you get through those moments, and it will show in your final product if you have a positive attitude. So this is something you can actually choose to do, maintain a positive attitude. So here's a little bonus of, well, let's say you want to do a project and you want to launch it, and you want it to actually be an entrepreneurial project. You want to get paid with dollar bills like this. So what are some things to think about if you want to do that? Well, here's some ideas. First, you got to have a way to get paid. Cash register, add to cart button on your website. You actually have to have a mechanism for it. And you have to have something that you're selling. You have to have a product or a service. So what product, what service should you pick if you're going to go off and do something entrepreneurial? Well, you want to make sure you have something that can make money quickly, like consulting, or something that doesn't take a year to get up and running before you see any income. If you're striking off on your own, you want to pick something that's going to make money quickly, even if it takes a lot of your own time to do that, like consulting, something that you're paid by the hour. Over time, you can work on your long-term project, something that's more of a system, a business, a product that makes money without taking as much of your day-to-day time. And maybe you want to start the Modern Plastics Corporation. I'll leave it up to you, but over time, you set aside a piece of your effort in building something for the long term. And if you want to get paid, you got to get good. You got to get really good. So keep practicing. And if you're not good enough to make money right now, work for free, work for testimonials. Do something for someone else and ask them if they had a good experience to provide you with a testimonial. You can use it in your marketing later. When it comes time to sell, some people don't like that. Here's a couple tips. First, you radiate. Like this girl, she's radiating. And then you state the facts. So you put yourself in a good frame of mind, and then you state the facts about what your product or service does. And if the other person is going to find that useful, they'll buy it. And if they don't, they won't. This is just a way to keep it simple. And if you do start off in an entrepreneurial direction and you have some success and things are going well, go out and find brilliant people to complement you. Not outsourcing to the lowest price option available, but find excellent people who are better than you at certain things. That's going to be how you grow the fastest. Find brilliant people like this guy. Thanks for tuning in. If you want to learn more about where all these ideas came from, I have a lot of links to the presenters and also to the people who provided the Creative Commons photos that I used in this slideshow. You can find it on my website at pierrebastien.net/WDS. Thanks for tuning in.